Elijah Torrance gripped the steering wheel of his beat-up gray Impala as he exited Interstate 16, the morning sun casting long shadows over the quiet roads leading into Sycamore, Georgia. The town unfolded before him like a postcard from a bygone era. American flags fluttering from porches, church marquees proclaiming messages of hope and humility, family-owned hardware stores with hand-painted signs, and a local diner where the scent of fresh banana cream pie wafted through open windows. People nodded politely as they passed one another on the sidewalks. Kids zipped by on bikes without a care, and every other Saturday, the church parking lot buzzed with a car wash fundraiser. It was the kind of place where trouble hid in plain sight, disguised as normalcy. Elijah hadn't planned to linger here. This was meant to be a quick assignment, another pin on the map of small southern towns where injustices simmered behind closed doors. But as he rolled through Main Street, he felt the subtle undercurrent that set Sycamore apart. Not overt malice, but a polished facade that screamed of secrets. He was no stranger to this. For nearly 2 years, he'd bounced between rural jurisdictions in Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, and now Georgia, embedding himself as an undercover FBI agent tasked with monitoring discriminatory policing and civil rights violations. His role was simple: blend in, observe, document, and intervene only when the evidence was ironclad. One wrong move and the operation crumbled. He pulled up to a modest one-bedroom rental just outside city limits, the kind of place that blended into the landscape. Faded siding, a small porch with a single rocking chair, and a gravel driveway that crunched under his tires. The landlord, a grizzled man named Harlan, handed over the keys with a curt nod. "Work in security, you said?" Harlan asked, eyeing Elijah's clean-cut appearance and the lack of luggage beyond a duffel bag. "That's right," Elijah replied, his voice steady and unassuming. He paid in cash, no questions asked, no criminal record, no local ties, and his online presence was minimal, a basic LinkedIn profile that revealed nothing. To the neighbors, he was just another face, black, polite, quiet. They saw him leave around evening, assuming a late shift. In truth, he was out watching, listening, piecing together the town's hidden rhythms. From the start, Sycamore raised red flags. Traffic stops were the gateway, always targeting young black men with out-of-county plates, pulled over for weaving, dark tint, or suspicious behavior. Rarely any tickets, never official reports, just intimidation under the cover of night, a badge gleaming in flashlight beams. Elijah logged it all: patrol patterns, badge numbers matched to body cam uploads, timestamps cross-referenced with social media. One name dominated: Captain Darla Whitmore. She wasn't just an officer, she was the department's brand. At 42, Darla had transformed from a routine cop into a local celebrity, her viral TikTok clips garnering millions of views. She framed herself as tough but fair, rebuilding trust between law enforcement and the community. But Elijah saw the cracks. Her stories didn't align with reports, arrests mismatched charges, and those she humiliated online never complained in Sycamore. You didn't challenge the police. You moved on if you could. Elijah kept his head down. He wandered the long aisles of the local pharmacy on what felt like a lazy afternoon, eavesdropping on casual chatter. He sat in barbershops, letting old men ramble about town gossip. He memorized street names, noted which businesses locked up early when certain crowds lingered. He waited, patient as ever, Meanwhile, Darla Whitmore thrived in her self-made spotlight. She strode through the station with a confident gait that turned heads, her uniform sharp, tongue sharper. But justice wasn't her pursuit. Engagement was. Her rise coincided with her online fame. A video de-escalating a domestic dispute hit too. 3 million views, and suddenly it clicked. It wasn't about the badge anymore, it was the numbers. She adopted the moniker Cap in her videos, pinned her badge higher, invested in a dash, mounted GoPro for dramatic angles, even hired a freelance editor from Atlanta to polish her content. Fast cuts, catchy music, captions like "This is why I wear the badge." Followers ate it up. Local moms shared in neighborhood groups. Young conservatives hailed her no-nonsense style. She did interviews, podcasts, even a live stream called Ride with Whitmore. Yet, the department crumbled beneath the gloss. Understaffed, undertrained, morale plummeted as officers rotated out. Darla ignored it, chasing flashy calls, skimping on reports unless footage was usable. Her arrests raised eyebrows. Edited videos clashed with uncut body cams in evidence lockers. But public perception shielded her. In Sycamore, that was currency. As the sun climbed higher, casting a warm glow over the town, Darla cruised in her patrol car, her secondary Instagram account live. "Streets don't sleep, folks," she said to the camera, responding to comments with a wink. It was a slow day, nothing unusual, until she pulled into the quick fuel gas station off Highway 60. There he was, Elijah, stepping out with a hoodie up, hands in pockets, minding his business after grabbing a quick fill-up. To Darla, he was content, dramatic, clickable. She paused the stream, killed the engine, her GoPro rolling. It wasn't about race, she told herself. It was instinct, suspicion, gut feeling. But in her mind, the voiceover scripted itself. This guy looked like he was up to something. You'll see why. Elijah sensed it before she approached. The patrol lights flickered behind him as he reached his car. He took a slow breath, sliding his license and registration onto the dashboard. This was inevitable. Not if, but when. Darla emerged with performative energy, left hand on her belt, right gripping the flashlight, chin raised like addressing an audience. She tapped the car's back, circled to the driver's side. "You in a hurry tonight, sir?" she asked, voice laced with authority. "No, ma'am," Elijah replied evenly. "You know why I pulled you over?" "No, ma'am, I just got gas." "You didn't signal pulling into the lot." He didn't argue, didn't smile. She wasn't seeking cooperation. She wanted material. "You from around here? Just moved in this morning near Dogwood Avenue." She studied him, a flicker in her eyes, like trying to place him but failing. Grabbing his ID, she lingered, shining her light around the back seat. Mind stepping out for a second, Elijah complied, hands visible, the interaction recorded, not just by her GoPro, but his pinhole lens in his jacket collar, audio synced to an encrypted server. This was evidence now. "Just making sure everything's clear," Darla said, moving to the passenger side. "You're searching the vehicle. I've got reasonable suspicion. You smell like marijuana." A hesitation betrayed the lie. "Saw something in your jacket. Could be a weapon." He opened the jacket slowly, empty pockets. "You're free to look." She popped the trunk. Duffel of laundry, first aid kit, flashlight, clipboard. No drugs, no weapons, no violation. Irritation flashed across her face. He remained patient. It was a standoff, not the drama she'd craved. "Okay," she muttered. "You're good to go. Do I get a citation?" "No, just a warning." "For what?" She didn't answer. retreating to her car, leaving him with the open trunk. Elijah didn't flinch. He'd expected this. As she drove off, he closed the trunk, got in his Impala, and drove back to his rental. But the wheels were turning. This wasn't observation anymore. It was escalation. Back at the station, Darla uploaded a 22-second clip. Elijah exiting the car, edited for tension, caption, "Late night stop. Always trust your gut. Stay safe out there." It surged to 40,000 views quickly. But she missed 3 seconds of audio. Elijah's clear, "You're searching without a warrant." Unbeknownst to her, that slip was gold for the bureau. Elijah, in his apartment, pulled a hard case from under the floorboards. Encrypted drives, backup recorder, secured laptop. He submitted the full report, footage, timeline, GPS logs, titled Subject 009, live, streamed misconduct, Sycamore PD. At Quantico, alarms triggered, lawyers looped in, a supervisor called, accelerate the investigation. Darla scrolled comments at her desk, soaking in praise. Another thug off the streets. She's a hero, but a few questioned. What did he do? Full version. She ignored them. The algorithm didn't care about context. Then, her lieutenant entered, door closing softly. "We got a call, internal affairs. Anonymous complaint about your video. They want full body cam incident report today." She scoffed. "There was no incident. Just a warning. They say you searched without cause." I had suspicion. But unease crept in. That man Elijah hadn't reacted like others. Calm, focused, like taking notes. She shrugged it off, but her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "You're not the only one with a camera." Dismissing it as a troll, she rewatched her clip. There it was, the audio slip. She called her editor, deleted all platforms. Too late. A civil rights lawyer on X broke it down frame by frame. Textbook Fourth Amendment violation. It gained traction. National accounts retweeted. By midday, her inbox flooded. Lieutenant returned. DOJ wants to talk. Prior complaints mentioned Elijah Torrance. Elijah, meanwhile, received confirmation. Priority status. HQ moved in. He'd embedded quickly, but this was fast, even for him. Darla wasn't just a bad apple. She weaponized visibility. Bureau data showed patterns, 6 cases in months, mismatched reports, unlawful searches, all targeting black men without records. One involved a teen searched at gunpoint for nervousness, no complaint filed, fear silencing him. Elijah understood this was about narrative control. Darla shaped stories before victims could speak. Now his raw footage, unaltered, time-stamped, contrasted her edits. He uploaded more. Video discrepancy, intentional misrepresentation. A secure message blinked. Field supervisor en route. Code gray. They were coming. Code gray meant ongoing harm, intervention imminent. Elijah shifted from observer to witness. As the afternoon waned, Darla felt the shift. Comments turned. This doesn't look right. Illegal. Engagement dipped. Then, a new incident. Officer Langston stopped a 16-year-old black teen outside a convenience store, fitting a theft description. Weapon drawn, boy sobbing. His mother, Tiana Riggins, a former Atlanta journalist, recorded it, posting, "My son is not a suspect. He's a student." It went viral differently. Comments tagged Darla. She taught them this. Tiana mentioned a pattern, Elijah's name. Darla froze. Whispers in the station, huddled officers silencing as she passed. Dashboard, 6 body cam requests, 1 DOJ urgent. She called Langston, "Don't speak without me." "You think this is about that gas station guy?" She hung up, pulling Elijah's license, clean. But something gnawed. He expected the stop, studied her, local paper, pattern of profiling, Sycamore PD under fire. She slammed her laptop, controls slipping. She needed to reclaim the narrative. One good video, she muttered, grabbing keys. Something bold. Unaware the FBI had a team in town watching. Her ego would lead her right to them. Elijah briefed remotely. She's reckless. Watch for isolation setups. As shadows lengthened, Darla drove, plotting. The town watched back, not waving, just observing. As the late afternoon sun dipped below the horizon, casting an amber glow over Sycamore's quiet streets, Captain Darla Whitmore gripped her cruiser's steering wheel, her knuckles pale against the black leather. The town's familiar landmarks, the diner, the church, the park where she'd once handed out popsicles for a feel. Good video felt alien now, their warmth replaced by an unspoken judgment. She could feel the eyes on her, not the adoring gazes of her followers, but the cautious stares of neighbors, shopkeepers, even kids on bikes who paused mid-pedal to watch her pass. The narrative she'd crafted so carefully, clip by clip, was unraveling, and the weight of it pressed against her chest like a storm cloud. Darla's plan was simple: reclaim control. One clean stop, one perfect video, something undeniable to shift the focus back to her as the protector, the hero. She'd done it before, spinning minor incidents into viral triumphs. But this time, the stakes were higher. The civil rights lawyer's X-thread had exploded, side-by-side comparisons of her edited clips against raw body cam footage spreading like wildfire. National outlets were circling, and the DOJ involvement wasn't a rumor anymore. It was a noose tightening. She needed a win, and she needed it tonight. She radioed Officer Jimmy Langston, her voice clipped. "Meet me at the old industrial park, east side. Routine patrol loitering complaints. Bring your vest, leave the body cam off." Langston's hesitation crackled through the static. "That's against protocol, Cap. So is leaking footage to the press," she snapped. "Just do it." He didn't argue. Darla knew he wouldn't. He owed her. 2 years ago, she'd backed him during an internal review when he'd roughed up a suspect a little too hard. Loyalty wasn't free, and she was cashing in. Across town, Elijah Torrance sat in the shadows of a second-story window in a vacant storefront overlooking the industrial park. His silhouette was barely visible, the faint glow of a burner phone illuminating his face as he checked encrypted messages from his field supervisor. The FBI surveillance team was already in place. 2 agents in a black SUV 3 blocks away, another pair in plain clothes parked beside a darkened pawn shop. They'd bugged Darla's phone 48 hours ago, the moment her gas station stop with Elijah hit their radar. Every word she spoke, every move she made, was now a data point in a case file labeled Subject Zeros, Hero 9. Elijah had warned them that morning, "She's going to do something reckless. Watch for isolation. Somewhere off the grid, no witnesses. If she calls backup last minute or deviates from her patrol route, be ready." His voice had been steady, clinical, but beneath it was a quiet resolve. He'd seen officers like Darla before, thriving on control, addicted to the spotlight. But none had weaponized it quite like her. Her videos weren't just reckless. They were a deliberate playbook, targeting black men with no records, no recourse, and no voice. The 19-year-old searched at gunpoint for nervousness. The teen humiliated for a cracked phone screen, each case a brick in a wall of silence she'd built around Sycamore. Now she was walking into a trap of her own making. Elijah's lapel camera from the gas station stop had already sealed her fate. Unaltered footage, GPS synced, showing her baseless search. But this move, luring him to the industrial park, was the final nail. He wasn't wired tonight. He didn't need to be. The Bureau's team had eyes on her, and Elijah was the shadow guiding their lens. At 8:42 p.m., Darla pulled into the gravel lot behind the industrial park, her cruiser's headlights slicing through the dusk. The area was a ghost town, empty storage units, a crumbling warehouse skeleton, and a faint smell of rust and motor oil. Langston was already there, leaning against his cruiser's hood, his face tight with unease. He adjusted his vest, his eyes darting to the shadows. "What's the play, Cap?" he asked, his voice low. She tossed him a clipboard, her expression unreadable. "Got a tip. Torrance has been hanging around here at night. No clear reason. Might be casing something. If he shows, we document. Quick, clean." Langston's eyes narrowed. "You serious? We're not planting anything, are we? Don't be stupid," she hissed. "We're just watching. He runs, we follow. He resists, we detain." He didn't respond, but his silence screamed doubt. Darla ignored it, positioning herself behind a rusted shipping container with a clear view of the alley. Her flashlight hung low, just below her belt, ready to flick on for dramatic effect. She'd seen it play out in her head. Elijah strolling by, maybe peering into the warehouse, her stepping out with authority, GoPro rolling. A caption already formed, "Caught in the act, stay vigilant." Across the street, the agents adjusted their comms. One raised a small camera, its lens trained on Darla's position. Another clicked a mic twice, signaling Elijah. He didn't respond. He didn't need to. From his vantage point, he could see her silhouette, the faint glint of her badge catching the moonlight. She was predictable, and that was her weakness. At 9:07 p.m., her radio crackled. "Unit 3 to Captain Whitmore. You've got a code 15. Immediate request for location check." She frowned, pressing the receiver. "Say again." "Dispatch received an anonymous tip. Possible misconduct in progress at the industrial park." Her stomach twisted. Before she could respond, another voice cut through, calm and authoritative. "Captain Whitmore, this is Special Agent Robert Mencken with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Please remain where you are. You are currently being monitored under an open federal inquiry." Darla froze, her flashlight slipping slightly in her grip. Langston backed away, hands raised instinctively, his face pale. Across the street, the SUV door opened, and Agent Mencken stepped out. No guns, just calm precision. A second agent joined him, holding a tablet with a live feed of the scene. Darla's mind raced. This wasn't a prank or a local sting. It was federal. Her phone, her cruiser, her every move had been tracked. She thought of the gas station stop, Elijah's unshaken calm, his too perfect compliance. He wasn't just a bystander, he was the architect. "Langston," she whispered, voice hoarse, "get back to your car." He didn't move, his eyes locked on the approaching agents. "Cap, what the hell is this?" She didn't answer. Mencken approached, his tone even. "Captain Whitmore, step away from the container. We need to speak." Her hand hovered near her belt, not for a gun, but for her GoPro, as if recording could still save her. But the lens felt heavy now, useless. She let it drop. Elijah watched from above, his burner phone buzzing with a single message: "Containment initiated. Stand by." He exhaled, the weight of months of observation lifting slightly. Darla had walked into the trap, just as he'd predicted. But this wasn't victory, not yet. It was the pivot point, the moment where her narrative crumbled and his began to take shape. Back at the station, the mood was a mix of shock and silence. Officers who'd once laughed at Darla's videos or shared her posts now exchanged uneasy glances. The break room fridge bore a new sticky note, told you she'd crash. No one claimed it, but no one removed it either. The department was a house of cards, and Darla's fall was pulling it down. By 10:00 p.m., the industrial park was cordoned off. The FBI team moved methodically, collecting Darla's cruiser footage, her phone, even the clipboard Langston held. He stood by his car, answering questions in short, nervous bursts. "I just followed orders," he repeated, his loyalty to Darla evaporating under the weight of federal scrutiny. Darla sat in the back of an unmarked SUV, her hands uncuffed, but her posture defeated. Mencken sat across from her, flipping through a folder. "You've been under surveillance for months, Captain. Torrance was assigned to Sycamore because of your pattern. Unlawful searches, falsified reports, targeting based on race. Your videos made it easier to track." She stared at the floor. "I wasn't targeting anyone. I was doing my job." "Your job doesn't include editing body cam footage to humiliate innocent people," Mencken said, sliding a still from her gas station clip across the table. It showed Elijah's calm face, her flashlight in his eyes. "This man is a federal agent. You picked the wrong target." Darla's jaw tightened, but she said nothing. The realization hit like a slow poison. Elijah hadn't just been watching her. He'd been baiting her, waiting for her to overplay her hand, and she had every step of the way. The town, meanwhile, buzzed with whispers. Tiana Riggins, the journalist mother, posted a new update. A photo of her son, smiling now with the caption, "He's home, but this isn't over." Her video of the teen's stop had hit 1 million views, and her mentions of a pattern and Elijah's name fueled speculation. Who was he? A lawyer? A vigilante? The truth was trickling out, and with it, Sycamore's illusion of harmony. At the station, the lieutenant fielded calls from the press, his voice strained. "We're cooperating fully," he repeated, dodging questions about Darla. The mayor's office issued a vague statement about ongoing reviews. But the damage was done. News trucks parked outside City Hall, their satellite dishes looming like vultures. Elijah slipped out of the storefront, his role as observer complete. He drove back to his apartment, the town's lights blurring past. His secured laptop pinged with a new file. Subject 009, field update, code gray executed. The bureau was moving fast now, preparing to serve warrants. Darla's arrest was imminent, but Elijah knew the real work was just beginning. Exposing her wasn't enough. The department, the town, had to face what she'd enabled. Darla, alone in the SUV, replayed the gas station stop in her mind. Elijah's calm, his questions, calculated, not defensive. She'd thought she was scripting the story, but he'd been writing it all along. Her phone, now in an evidence bag, held no notifications, no likes, no shares. The algorithm had moved on, and so had her audience. As midnight approached, the FBI team briefed Elijah remotely. "She's contained, but the department's a mess," Mencken said. "We're pulling all her footage, referencing with complaints. You'll need to testify quietly." Elijah nodded, his voice steady. "Understood. What's her next move?" "She'll double down, try to spin it, maybe claim entrapment, but the evidence is airtight. Her own videos bury her." Elijah closed the laptop, the room dark except for the faint glow of streetlights through the blinds. He thought of Channa's son, the 19-year-old searched at gunpoint, the countless others who'd stayed silent. This wasn't about him or Darla. It was about them, the ones who'd been erased from her narrative. Outside, Sycamore slept uneasily, the quiet no longer comforting but heavy with questions. Darla's cruiser sat empty in the industrial park, its lights off. The town's hero was fading, and the truth was stepping into the spotlight. The night air hung heavy over Sycamore, Georgia, as the town's illusion of calm gave way to a restless quiet. Streetlights cast long, flickering shadows across empty sidewalks, and the hum of distant traffic was the only sound breaking the stillness. Inside, an unmarked FBI SUV parked at the edge of the industrial park. Captain Darla Whitmore sat motionless, her reflection faint in the tinted window. The weight of her unraveling empire pressed against her, each moment replaying in her mind like a clip she couldn't edit. Elijah Torrance's calm face, his deliberate questions, the way he'd stood unflinched under her flashlight. It wasn't just a stop gone wrong. It was a setup, and she'd walked into it blind. Across town, Elijah Torrance packed his modest apartment with the precision of a man who'd done this before. His duffel bag held only essentials, a change of clothes, encrypted drives, a secured burner phone. The hard case beneath the floorboards was already stowed in his Impala's trunk. Its contents, months of evidence against Darla and the Sycamore PD, now in the hands of the FBI Civil Rights Division. His role as an observer was over. He'd transitioned to witness, his testimony set to anchor the case against her. As he taped a note to the apartment door, "Healing starts when truth is louder than fear," he felt no triumph, only the quiet resolve of a job done right. The FBI operation moved swiftly now. At 6:00 a.m., 3 unmarked vehicles rolled into the Sycamore Police Department lot, their plain-suited agents carrying sealed folders and quiet authority. The station, usually buzzing with early morning chatter, fell silent as they entered. Officers exchanged glances, some retreating to their desks, others lingering to watch. The warrant had been signed overnight. Darla Whitmore faced charges of obstruction of justice, falsification of public records, and deprivation of civil rights under color of law. The news hadn't leaked yet, but the air crackled with anticipation. Darla hadn't left her office since the industrial park. Her gun and badge sat untouched on her desk, relics of a persona that no longer held weight. Her phone, confiscated, lay silent in an evidence bag. The notifications had stopped around 3:00 a.m. No more likes, no reposts, no praise from her once adoring followers. She stared at the ceiling, replaying Agent Mencken's words, "You are no longer in control of this narrative." For years she'd shaped her story through edits and captions, every arrest a performance, every clip a brick in her digital fortress. Now that fortress was rubble. At 7:04 a.m. the door opened. Special Agent Robert Mencken entered, a sealed folder in hand. "Captain Whitmore," he said, voice steady, "we're serving a federal arrest warrant. You're charged with obstruction, falsification, and civil rights violations." She didn't stand, didn't argue. Her eyes flicked to the folder, then to him. "You planned this," she said, her voice hollow. Mencken nodded once. "You planned it for us." She gave a tired laugh, the sound brittle. "And him, that Elijah Torrance. He's a federal agent. His assignment here is complete." The realization settled like ash. Elijah hadn't been a random target. He'd been the hunter, waiting for her to overstep. Every move she'd made, the gas station stop, the industrial park setup, had been catalogued, cross-referenced, turned into evidence. She'd built her career on visibility, but it was her own spotlight that burned her. Mencken read her rights, slow and clear. When he finished, she stood, hands behind her back, letting him cuff her. The click of the handcuffs echoed in the small office, a sound as final as a gavel. Outside, officers watched from the windows. Some averted their eyes, others stared, unblinking. A young recruit, who'd once shared her videos with pride, shifted uncomfortably, as if watching the end of a story he'd misread. As Darla was led through the station's front doors, a local reporter lunged forward, camera rolling. "Captain Whitmore, any comment?" She said nothing, her face a mask of defiance and defeat. Behind her, Elijah stepped into view, standing beside Mencken. Not a suspect, not a witness, but the quiet force who dismantled her reign. The reporter pivoted. "Sir, are you willing to comment?" Elijah paused, his gaze steady. The truth speaks louder than edits. By noon, the footage of Darla's arrest went viral. No music, no filters, just raw concrete and the zip of cuffs. Comments flooded in, a mix of shock and vindication. Her die-hard supporters cried foul, claiming a political hit, but the evidence was overwhelming. Timelines aligned, body cam discrepancies exposed, forced searches, false reports, pre-staged arrests. Even internal complaints she'd buried surfaced, each one a thread in a tapestry of abuse. The department reeled. An interim captain was named, Darla's name scrubbed from the website, her social media pages deleted. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation stepped in, mandating new body cams with auto-upload systems and double-audited reports. Public listening sessions were scheduled. Raw, emotional meetings where residents aired years of fear and silence. Tiana Riggins, the journalist mother, became a catalyst. Her son's stop had lit the spark, and now she launched Citizens First, a watchdog group with over 300 members in weeks. Black, white, young, old, united for accountability. At a town council meeting, a teenager stood, voice trembling, to read a statement. He'd been stopped by Darla 2 years prior. No ticket, just humiliation. "I thought it was my fault," he said. "Then I saw Elijah's story. I wasn't wrong. She was." Sycamore wasn't transformed overnight. Perfection wasn't the goal, truth was. The town's silence shifted, not the hush of avoidance, but the quiet of reckoning. Neighbors who once stayed quiet now spoke up. A teacher began lessons on fairness with new conviction. A deputy rewrote training protocols, emphasizing de-escalation over optics. Darla sat in a federal holding facility outside Atlanta, her trial date pending. The Justice Department added 2 more charges, additional civil rights violations and conspiracy tied to her falsified reports. Her attorney pushed for a plea, but she refused, clinging to the belief she was misunderstood, not corrupt. The public disagreed. Patterns don't lie, and hers showed a career built on image over integrity, a digital mirage masking a rotting core. Elijah was gone by morning, his apartment empty. His Impala vanished from Sycamore streets. He left no trace beyond the note on his door and the ripple of his impact. Some criticized his silence, saying he should have stayed, spoken publicly. But they missed the point. Elijah wasn't the story, he was the mirror, reflecting what Darla and Sycamore had chosen to ignore. Weeks later, at a small town hall, residents gathered to discuss reform. Tiana led the charge, her voice steady as she outlined Citizens First's goals. In the back, a man sat quietly, listening. No one recognized him, but his presence felt familiar. When asked if he'd speak, he shook his head. "I'm just here to listen," he said. Some swore it was Elijah, others said it couldn't be. Either way, his shadow lingered, not in headlines, but in the courage of a town learning to face itself. Justice didn't roar, it whispered. In the neighbor who now questioned authority, the officer who double-checked his reports, the teenager who no longer blamed himself, Sycamore wasn't perfect, but it was waking up. Truth, when told clearly, didn't need to go viral to matter, it just needed to be believed.
If you liked this story, please like, subscribe, and share it with others so they can learn something from it too.